everyone, a very good evening. You're watching The Money Show on ET now. It's Friday, which means it's time for our very special ladies segment. The theme that we want to discuss today is that associated with Navratri, the 9 auspicious days that are marked every year on the calendar. This time around, though, Navratri was a bit more subdued and not accompanied by the usual joyousness and color that it usually is associated with. But given the fact that it is Navratri, it always does remind us to remember that there are certain aspects in life that are simply unignorable, whether it's with respect to love, compassion, kindness, or even money for that matter. So on today's episode of The Money Show, that's what we will be discussing. The 9 lessons associated with money and finances that all of you cannot ignore. And joining me on this very special show are 3 wonderful ladies. Shilpa Maheshwari, she's the Executive Advisor with Matrix India. Lakshmi Iyer, the CIO for Fixed Income and the Head of Products with Kotak Mutual Fund. And Shanai Ghosh, ED and CEO of Edelweiss General Insurance Company. Good evening, ladies, and thank you so much for joining us in this very special episode of The Money Show. Shilpa, let me start off the show with you, to help us put into context as well the importance of financial planning, regardless of your income bracket, regardless of your age, for many, unfortunately, even regardless of your gender. And I can't believe I still have to say this, but yes, this is often a very wrong misconception in many people's minds that, okay, I'm not earning, so, I really don't need to get into the finance bit of, the household. An extremely wrong misconception. I'm sure you'll agree with me, Shilpa. So, why do you think, having a financial plan, a personal finance plan, in place is extremely important, Shilpa?
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. I think it's important. So I believe, that given your context on the show being special for women, I would put it around that. It's important, financially independent women create a very evolved and equitable society. And so it's very important for us to have financially independent women. And for the financial independence, the first step is to get your hands around your finances, your investments, irrespective of whether you're earning or not. If you go back to from an Indian context, we still do not have enough representation of women on the workforce. But we still have, even say the women who do not have, are not working, they still have access to the household finances, wherein, if you would say a large percentage of our savings of our GDP is provided by our household savings. I wouldn't say the entire pie is being controlled by housewives, but a large pie would be. So it's important for each one of us to step up and have that, because be it a housewife or be it a working woman, wherein a lot many times, a working woman, despite earning, are not looking after the financials. They leave it to their husbands or, many of their households to do it. But to take control of your life, I think it's very important to have financial independence, wherein you control your finances, because, you would know what are your personal goals, keeping in mind the household as well. But if you have that financial independence and you are in there, you can guide it as per your goals. So it's important that we are in.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the reason why I said, regardless of your income, regardless of your age, regardless of, your gender, anything like that, it's extremely important to have, a financial plan of sorts in place. You can't be dependent. It's having a financial plan will also essentially ensure that you are able to attain independence, live life in your own terms as well, in a way. Okay, Lakshmi Iyer, let me come to you first. Since Shilpa did speak about investing for women, many a times women say, I don't know anything about finances, I don't know how the equity markets work, etc. And that's the reason why we have this product called mutual funds. So why do you think women should use this path, especially if they are not financial savvy?
My view is that investment, as you rightly observed and Shifa also articulated well, is quite gender agnostic. Having decided, it is not about whether you should or not. Investments are inevitable. Having decided that you are going to charge that special effort is what I do it. It's like a self-drive from Mumbai to Nagla or rent an Uber or a Ola. So you're waiting to a driver and asking you to get them to your location. That mutual fund is that which allows you a set of financial goals. With that financial goals, you have various capital. The most, I would say, advantageous part of doing it one mutual fund that it allows you to diversify. It is literally like a business it's literally like Ma Durga or the goddess having multiple hands and she has big chakras, she's blocking it. So that's the one life is fun. So that's one of the opportunities therefore even the one who in the world of finance of very happy. Therefore, one cannot underestimate the importance of this benefit
I love the way how you essentially elaborated that and explained that in a very wonderful manner, and I hope it's an inspiration as well to all the women listening. Shanai, I think you must have been a busy woman these last 8-9 odd months as we are in the midst of a health crisis. The importance of having a health insurance has never been more so than it has been during the COVID pandemic. And I think it just sort of underpins what you and many people have been saying, many personal finance experts have been saying, that you cannot do without a health insurance. Shanai.
Absolutely. Actually, I saw, sometimes that this conversation is about importance of financial planning or life and health insurance for women. Personally, I've never really seen it through a gender lens because, you're a person, whether you're earning or not, money is important. Money gives you certain security, money gives you certain comfort, certain dreams that you can chase. So it's important whether you're a woman or a man. And I would say that even whether you're working or not, it's important because one of my panelists was saying that even a lot of women who are not working have a fair bit of influence on the finances of the household. In fact, I think there are more influence that really comes out in any of the surveys. And yes, you're absolutely right. The importance of health insurance has never been felt more. And I would like to actually tell all the women are far more practical, conscientious, and when we talk to women I feel understand the importance of health insurance more than men. So I would actually ask women who are the people who are the practical people within the house, who are the caregivers, who are the homemakers, whether they're working or not, to actually influence your family to get health insurance. Because like you said, in the last 7-8 months, we've actually realized the value of health insurance, which is why health insurance is the one industry that is really seeing robust growth. And as the industry, we've launched countless COVID products, and I can tell you as part of the industry that the kind of runaway demand that we are seeing for COVID health insurance products, where insurance is usually push product, you have to explain, the kind of pull that we are seeing for COVID products is like never before. So I think this is really a watershed moment in the history of health insurance in India, and hopefully this memory will endure, and we would have learned from this, and we will make sure that we have comprehensive health insurance, at least for everyone in the family, because you never know what's around the corner. If nothing else, the last 7-8 months have just brought to us in stark confrontation with the uncertainty of life, and you really need to plan for that uncertainty. You always hope for the best, but just keep prepared for the not so great.
hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst, and that's something that having a health insurance product will help you do. And yeah, you put it very rightly, that a comprehensive health insurance product will help you do all of that. Additionally, the insurance regulator as well has put forward several steps, to just de-jargonize and make the whole health insurance product and the purchasing process, including the claims process, simpler. So might as well, make use of all of that. Okay, Shilpa, let me come to you now. Many a times people don't know where to start off. You say that, okay, I've started earning and I've just got my salary, but I have absolutely no clue where to start off. How much should I save? How much should I, invest in mutual funds or in any other product? And how much should I spend? Many a times people get stuck on this. So what do you think should be step one? I mean, do you sort of, recommend a divvy up of a fixed division of this money, which, individuals should follow through their life until, of course, there is some major life event?
Sure. So, there cannot be a standard formula which could be applied across for everyone. Everyone's needs and desires or the liquidity needs are very different. So, you will have to fit it according to that. So, there will be a financial planning which should be important. But the key, I would say, is to start investing very early, say with your first salary perhaps. So, the key is to start investing early, keep investing consistently, and invest for long term. And there will be a lot of underlying planning which is required because you may have a liquidity event. So you may also like to break your goals into short-term goals, mid-term goals, and long-term goals, and then start backward planning to say, okay, this percentage is what I invest for my first set of salaries. The next year I do so much. The year after I do so much. And then if you have short-term goals, it also helps you to say work towards it. And coming back to what kind of products, I think India as a country has evolved a lot from the financial products and availability perspective and the ease at which we can do. The best thing when you are starting off and you are not very well aware or well versed with the complicated products, I would say not to go around that. Start with as simple as an SIP, as Lakshmi said. That's the easiest form of thing, and the ease with which you can do it. So start with an SIP, and then go on to learn more about the different kind of financial products. A very key and important piece that I would need to pull out is never invest behind a recommendation. Someone says, oh, I made so much money, and you went behind and said, you would also go ahead. Because a lot many times, if you do not understand, the money will get stuck because you may be looking at liquidity early on. So it's important that you understand the financial product very well before investing in, and do it as per your needs, as per your risk, as per your liquidity or needs or short-term or long-term goals.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll continue this conversation. So ladies, stay on with us as we take a very short break right here on the show. Okay, welcome back. You're watching The Money Show on ET now. We're in conversation with Lakshmi Iyer, Shilpa Maheshwari, as well as Shanai Ghosh, talking about how important it is to have a financial plan for yourself, a holistic financial plan for yourself. Okay, Lakshmi Iyer, let me come to you now, and let's understand. If a woman or anybody for that matter, and let's always assume that they're not exactly financially savvy. When it comes to choosing mutual funds, first there's debt, then there's equity. Then within that there's the whole umbrella, and within equity as well, you have your large caps, you have mid caps, multi caps, so on and so forth. How do you do you think that they should take the help of a personal finance advisor? How should they essentially navigate all of these categories and these different options that the mutual fund industry provides them?
In your question lies the answer, the entire gamut of opportunities available even within the mutual
one space, quite elaborate. It is like a maze, and there is a reasonably high tendency that even one is initiated in the world of finance could feel a little bit busy. So I think it's very important to engage the services of an advisor or a coach, because even the one who is quite adept at his or her field, whether it's in the sport or in cooking, does need some expert guidance. And of course, this is talking about finances, and it's important. And then, mind you, there is no one size fits all. The texture and the color of a fish might be pretty much similar, but one has agri, and therefore the sweet taste, and one has amaranth, and therefore the sour taste. Other might be similar. But to keep all this in mind, and therefore I firmly believe that it's not, there is not necessarily okay, very time that you go and like that, like a medical world, you actually go with a financial advisor, because you need to be financially fit the way you need to be quite blending your own thoughts, sharing thoughts, leading your roadmap, and sharing that with an advisor for him or her plan, and say that and according to make your license, it's definitely a recommended scenario, especially in this market being in so many options. And the first of all, and as I said, you don't need to be financially savvy or otherwise. First of all is the recency bias. You actually talk to very near term, which could be quite connected to your financial.
Okay. Shanai, coming back to, insurance. Firstly, there is, this wonderful product introduced by the regulator, and that's the standardized health insurance. It basically has the same features, for a health insurance product, regardless of, where you're buying it from. So that may, help an individual really purchase the health insurance, especially if they are first-time buyers of a health insurance. But how do you decide, on say a sum assured? How would you guide, health insurance buyers in that sense?
So, sum insured, depends on a few things. Depends on how many people you want to cover. If it's a family floater, the number of people that you want to cover. What is the age of that, what is the age for your family? Where do you stay? So, for instance, if you have a family of about 4 people in staying in a metro location, I would always recommend that you buy a health insurance or family floater of about 5 lakhs. But you could possibly go for a lower sum insured. Suppose you were living in not a metro location but a tier 1, tier 2 urban city. The way you can actually supplement your cover is by other covers, like, for instance, people buy COVID. A lot of people who already had health insurance bought COVID because they thought that, if it's COVID, I'll cover that with this, and for my other ailments, I'll have health insurance. The other thing a lot of people can do is use a top-up. So you buy maybe a base comprehensive health insurance of 2 or 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs, depending on how many people you have where you're staying, and you top it up with a top-up cover. How a top-up cover is, it triggers after your a base sum insured cover, which you have to declare in your top-up. So in this way, you cover most of it. I always recommend having a top-up cover because you never know what happens. A lot of people might have thought that a 5 lakh sum insured or a 3 lakh or 2 lakh was sufficient. But then came COVID, where the cost of hospitalization was far more. On an average, in our claim sizes were about 50,000 for the industry. COVID, it's almost 3x that. So I would always suggest that as a contingency measure, you should always have a top-up plan above, and top-up plans are fairly cheap and affordable, and therefore if you combine it with a base sum insured, it works. If you're a single person, kind of alone, buying it only for yourself, I would say anywhere between 3 to 5 lakhs is good enough. A lot of people buy 1 and 2 lakhs, but I think anything below 3 lakhs is really insufficient in my opinion. So I would say that minimum you should get, but if you don't have any health insurance altogether and affordability is an issue, even a sum insured as low as 1 lakh is good enough. So it depends on afford. If you can afford it, go for a 5 lakh sum insured, I would say.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, ladies, Lakshmi Iyer, Shilpa Maheshwari, as well as Shanai Ghosh, many thanks for joining us today on the show, and guiding all our viewers with the whole financial planning process, the A to Z, if you could call it that, right from how to invest your money, where to invest it, and of course why insurance is important. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you'd like to catch this conversation, you can do so by logging on to ET Now's YouTube page and find the Money Show playlist. And for now, we'll take a short break.